The Enchanted Tortoise Part 1. The gift. Once upon a time, in a lush and vibrant forest in Nigeria, there lived a tortoise named Tunde. Tunde was no ordinary tortoise. He was known far and wide for his wit and cunning. However, he was also known for his insatiable greed, a trait that often led him into trouble. One bright and sunny morning, as Tunde was wandering through the forest in search of food, he stumbled upon an old, wise chameleon named Nnamdi. Nnamdi had lived in the forest for many years and was known to possess magical powers. Seeing the tortoise's greedy nature, Nnamdi decided to teach him a lesson. "Good day, Tunde," greeted Nnamdi, his eyes glinting with hidden knowledge. "I see you are as busy as ever." Tunde, looking up, saw the chameleon and immediately sensed an opportunity. "Good day, Nnamdi. Indeed, I am always busy. One has to work hard to find sustenance in these parts." Nnamdi chuckled. "I have observed your struggles, Tunde. Perhaps I can help you." Tunde's eyes widened with curiosity. "Help me? How so?" Nnamdi extended his long, sticky tongue and retrieved a small, intricately carved shell from behind a nearby bush. "This is a magic shell. It can provide you with anything you wish for. Food, wealth, anything your heart desires." Tunde could hardly believe his luck. "Anything I wish for. Yes, anything. But remember, Tunde, with great power comes great responsibility. Use it wisely." Tunde nodded eagerly, hardly listening to Nnamdi's warning. He was already dreaming of the riches and luxuries he could wish for. Taking the shell, he thanked Nnamdi and hurried back to his burrow. Part 2, the first wish. Since he was safely home, Tunde couldn't wait to test the shell's power. He held it tightly and whispered, "I wish for a feast fit for a king." Immediately, the ground before him was covered in all manner of delectable foods: yams, plantains, roasted meats, and fruits of every kind. Tunde's mouth watered, and he dug in without a second thought, gorging himself until he could eat no more. Over the next few days, Tunde continued to use the shell to fulfill his every desire. He wished for a magnificent new burrow with walls lined with gold and precious stones. He wished for the finest clothes, decorated with vibrant patterns and adorned with gems. He wished for endless supplies of food and drink, more than he could ever consume. The other animals in the forest soon noticed Tunde's newfound wealth and luxury. They came to him, curious and envious. "Tunde, how did you come by all these riches?" asked a curious antelope. Tunde, relishing the attention, decided to share his secret, but only partially. "I have been blessed with a gift from the wise chameleon Nnamdi. It is a reward for my hard work and cleverness." The animals were amazed and began to treat Tunde with great respect, hoping that some of his luck might rub off on them. Tunde basked in their admiration, feeling more powerful and important than ever before. Part 3. The greed grows. As time went on, Tunde's greed only grew. He was no longer satisfied with just food and material wealth. He wanted control and power over the other animals. One day, he wished for a grand palace in the center of the forest, a towering structure that could be seen from miles away. The palace appeared, and Tunde moved in, declaring himself the ruler of the forest. He began to impose taxes on the other animals, demanding a portion of their food and belongings. Those who could not pay were forced to work for him, building and maintaining his palace and tending to his every need. The forest, once a place of harmony and cooperation, became filled with resentment and fear. The wise chameleon Nnamdi watched all of this unfold from a distance. He had hoped that Tunde might learn humility and gratitude through the gift of the magic shell, but it was clear that the tortoise's greed was only getting worse. Deciding that it was time to intervene, Nnamdi devised a plan to teach Tunde a final lesson. Part 4, the forlorn day. As Tunde was lounging in his grand palace, he noticed a commotion outside. The other animals had gathered and were speaking in hushed tones, pointing toward the edge of the forest. Curious, Tunde emerged from his palace to see what was happening. A stranger had arrived in the forest, a lion with a majestic mane and a regal presence. The animals seemed to be in awe of him, and even Tunde felt a twinge of unease. "Who are you?" Tunde demanded, trying to maintain his authoritative tone. "I am Kofi, the Lion King," the stranger replied. "I have heard of your rule over this forest, and I have come to see it for myself." Tunde, feeling threatened by Kofi's presence, decided to show off his power. He held up the magic shell and declared, "I am the most powerful creature in this forest. With this shell, I can have anything I desire." Kofi raised an eyebrow. "Is that so?" Then prove it. Wish for something that will impress me. Tunde, eager to prove his superiority, held the shell tightly and wished for a mountain of gold. Instantly, a massive pile of shimmering gold appeared before them. The animals gasped in amazement, but Kofi remained unimpressed. Is that all? Kofi asked. Surely, you can do better. Determined to outdo the lion, Tunde wished for a river of honey. The ground shook as a golden river flowed through the forest, its sweet aroma filling the air. The animals were stunned, but Kofi simply shook his head. Anyone can wish for wealth and luxury, Kofi said. But true power comes from within, not from a magic shell. Frustrated and desperate to prove himself, Tunde wished for an army of soldiers to enforce his rule. A legion of fierce warriors appeared, armed with spears and shields, ready to do his bidding. The animals cowered in fear, but Kofi stood his ground. You still don't understand, do you? Kofi said, his voice calm but firm. Your greed will be your downfall. Tunde, blinded by his desire for power, ignored the lion's warning. He ordered his soldiers to capture Kofi, believing that eliminating the lion would secure his dominance over the forest. But as the soldiers advanced, Kofi let out a mighty roar, shaking the very ground beneath them. The soldiers stopped in their tracks, trembling with fear. Kofi stepped forward, his eyes locked on Tunde. Your time is up, Tunde. The magic shell has clouded your judgment and corrupted your heart. It is time for you to face the consequences of your actions. With that, Kofi reached out and touched the shell. It glowed brightly for a moment before shattering into pieces, its magic dissipating into the air. Tunde felt a sudden emptiness, as if a part of him had been ripped away. The soldiers vanished, the river of honey dried up, and the mountain of gold crumbled into dust. The grand palace collapsed, leaving Tunde standing alone in the ruins. The other animals, realizing that Tunde's power was gone, began to approach cautiously. Kofi turned to them and said, this forest can be a place of harmony and cooperation once more. But first, we must rebuild what has been destroyed. Part 5. The lesson learned. Tunde, humbled and ashamed, realized the gravity of his mistakes. He had let his greed and desire for power consume him, leading to the suffering of others and his own downfall. He approached Kofi and the other animals, bowing his head in remorse. I am sorry for what I have done, Tunde said. I let my greed blind me, and I have hurt all of you. Please, forgive me and allow me to help rebuild our forest. The animals, seeing the sincerity in Tunde's eyes, decided to give him a second chance. Under Kofi's guidance, they worked together to restore the forest to its former glory. Tunde, no longer driven by greed, became a diligent and helpful member of the community, using his wit and cleverness for the benefit of all. Over time, the forest flourished once again, becoming a place of peace and prosperity. Tunde learned the importance of humility, gratitude, and cooperation, understanding that true happiness comes from within and from the bonds we share with others. And so, the story of the Enchanted Tortoise became a legend in the forest, a timeless reminder of the dangers of greed and the value of humility. Tunde's tale was told to young animals for generations, teaching them to cherish what they have and to use the gifts wisely. As for the wise chameleon Nnamdi, he continued to watch over the forest, pleased that his lesson had finally been learned. He knew that sometimes, it takes a great fall to truly understand the meaning of greatness. Epilogue. Years passed, and the forest thrived under the leadership of Kofi and the cooperative spirit of its inhabitants. Tunde, though no longer seeking power, became a respected elder, known for his wisdom and kindness. He would often sit with the young animals, sharing stories of his past and the lessons he had learned. One day, as Tunde was recounting his tale to a group of eager listeners, Nnamdi appeared, his scales shimmering in dappled sunlight filtering through the canopy above. The young animals gasped in awe as they recognized the wise chameleon. Nnamdi, you're here, exclaimed Tunde, his voice filled with gratitude. Nnamdi nodded sagely, his eyes twinkling with warmth. Yes, Tunde, I have been watching over you all these years, guiding from afar when needed. The young animals looked between Tunde and Nnamdi, curious about their history together. Tunde smiled knowingly and continued his story. Nnamdi gave me the magic shell, hoping I would learn from its power. Instead, I let greed consume me, Tunde confessed, his gaze momentarily falling to the ground. But you learned from your mistakes, Tunde, interjected Nnamdi gently. That is what matters. The journey of learning and growth is often paved with challenges and setbacks. Tunde nodded, his shell gleaming softly in the sunlight. Indeed, Nnamdi, I realized that true power comes not from material possessions or magic, but from within ourselves and how we treat others. The young animals listened intently, absorbing the wisdom of their elder. They understood now why Tunde was so respected in the forest, not for his past mistakes, but for the lessons he had learned and shared. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the forest, Nnamdi spoke once more. Remember, young ones, the tale of Tunde the tortoise. Let it be a reminder to cherish what you have, to use your gifts wisely, and to always strive for harmony and cooperation. With those words, Nnamdi slowly faded into the shadows of the forest, his presence lingering like a gentle breeze. Tunde looked around at the young animals, his heart filled with gratitude and hope for the future. Answer, Tunde concluded, that is how I learned the importance of humility and the dangers of greed. Let us all remember this lesson and continue to build a forest where every creature can thrive. The young animals nodded solemnly, their minds filled with newfound understanding and respect for Tunde and his journey. Together, they walked back towards their homes, the forest alive with the sounds of nature and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And so, the legend of the enchanted tortoise and the wise chameleon continued to be passed down through the generations, inspiring countless animals to live with kindness, humility, and gratitude. In the heart of the Nigerian forest, harmony prevailed, thanks to the lessons learned from Tunde's journey of redemption. The end.
Thanks for watching. For more content, subscribe to our channel, like, share, and comment on this video.